Welcome to sixth grade math. This is lesson 154. It's Friday, so that's something to be excited for, I think. But I love, I enjoy a lot of days. I get to do, it's great to have a brand new day and a fresh start. So I hope that you are feeling the same. And we're going to do some rapid calculation drills, and then I'm going to let you get to your speed drill. You have 3 minutes for your speed drill today, and then we will look at the time zones again and a little bit of review on our degrees. Okay? All right, so you ready? 42 divided by 6 times 7 divided by 3 divided by 7 plus 9 times 6 divided by 8 plus 6 times 4 equals. Did you get 60? That should be the right answer. Okay, we're going to do another one. All right, so if you didn't get the last one, let's see how you do on this one. 20 divided by 5 times 6 divided by 8 plus 5 times 6 divided by 4 times 3 divided by 9 times 8 equals 32. All right, I hope you got that. We'll do one more and then I'll let you get to your speed drill. 12 minus 5 times 4 minus 5 plus 9 divided by 8 times 4 plus 9 divided by 5 plus 9 equals 14 should be the answer to that one. All right, so you can go back and figure out how that we got those answers, but go ahead and pause, take your speed drill for 3 minutes, and then come back and we'll look at our time zones again. All right, I hope you did well on that speed drill. With our time zones, remember we've got the Hawaiian Aleutian time zone. That's the Hawaiian Islands. The Aleutian Islands are there off the coast of Alaska. Then there is the Alaskan time zone. And then the Pacific time zone, which it would be Oregon, Washington, California, and Nevada. And I think Idaho too. And probably Arizona. Well, Arizona's funky with the time zone and everything, so we won't bank on that one. But then we've got Mountain time zone, and that's where we live, and then Central time zone, and so that would be where Ms. Hecker's family lives in Wisconsin. They're in Central time zone, and so there's lots of states in the Central time zone, and then the Eastern time zone. And several of you have family members that are out on the East Coast, and they're in the Eastern time zone, okay? And so when you're calling them for a holiday or something, or just to talk, you've got to be aware of what time it is there, because if it's 10 o'clock here, it's midnight there, so it's probably not a good time to call. And so you want to make sure that you're being respectful of others, and knowing these time zones really helps you with that, okay? So first of all, let's look at, I have a story problem that I'm going to read first, and then we will see what the time is if it's 1 p.m. in Central, okay? All right, so the Taylor family flew to Tel Aviv, Israel. They left Atlanta, Georgia at 5 p.m. on Saturday and arrived at 6 p.m. on Sunday. If the travel time was only 18 hours, how many time zones to the east of Atlanta is Tel Aviv? Okay, all right, so we've got to look at how long it took. So if they left at 5 p.m. on Saturday and arrived at 6 p.m. on Sunday, how many hours is that? So although the trip took only 3/4 of a day, the local time was over 1 day later. So let's see. Well, 5 p.m. to 5 p.m. would be how many hours? 24 hours. So 1 more hour is 25 hours, okay? So 25 hours, it only took 18 hours to travel. So 25 minus 18 is what? 7. So 7 time zones. That's how many time zones they went through, okay? So the local time was over a day later. A person's body felt that it was close to noon rather than early evening. It took the Taylors a couple days to adjust to this new time. Jet lag is the term used to describe the temporary distress caused by traveling quickly over several time zones. You can feel that as some of you have traveled back east and you've gone 2 hours ahead, and you can feel that jet lag a little bit. It's not as bad as when you actually go to another country and it's much longer. And I have not felt that jet lag. I've not gone out of the country, but my parents went to Australia, as I think I said yesterday, and they said that jet lag was pretty bad. But what they did was they arrived at like early morning, and they were told to help with the jet lag is actually to stay up the normal time, like to when you would go to sleep on their time. So it was like, you know, they got there at like 8 or 9 in the morning. So they stayed up that entire day and didn't go to sleep until that night, 8 or 9 at night. And it helps with the jet lag. If you go to sleep right away, your body will continue to be off a little bit. But it does, I mean, still takes a couple days to adjust to the new time, but staying up that first full day, they say helps. So if you ever do the traveling, that's one thing that I would tell you, okay? So if it is 1 p.m. Central, what time is it in all the other time zones, okay? So we're gonna go through, and so what time would it be Eastern? So 1 hour forward, right? So it's gonna be 2 p.m. Okay? What about 1 hour back for Mountain Time? 12. Remember, this is noon, so we could also put noon, okay? Or we could just put 12 p.m., okay? Pacific, we're going backwards, right? So it's 11 a.m. or p.m.? a.m., right? Okay. What about Alaska? 10 a.m. Okay, and then Hawaii and Aleutian would be 9 a.m. Okay, so these people would be in the beginning of their afternoon. They might be getting a snack. These people, depends on their what their schedule is for the day. If it was like a weekend, they might be eating breakfast, or if it is a school day, they would be in the midst of their school, starting their school, or having started it shortly before that. So you can see the difference in the times for each zone affects what people would be doing at that time, okay? So now we're gonna look at your page, and it says that the Eastern time zone is centered on the 75-degree west meridian of longitude. Okay, so you look at the time zone, and so 75 degrees west, and you can see that, but you also, if you look at the map, in the green map at the top, And then the colored map at the bottom, the line does not quite match. And the reason is what we had said yesterday, is that we line up our time zone line to go around states, and so it makes it the most efficient. So, you know, it's centered on there, but it doesn't sit. That's where a lot of it is around that, but then it does go over to Michigan and Indianapolis, or Indiana and Kentucky, down to Georgia and Florida. Even part of Florida is in Central Time, okay? So then the Central Time Zone is centered on the 90-degree west meridian of longitude. So you see the 90 degrees there at the top. And so that goes about through the center of this time zone, okay? So you see there's a lot of states that are in the Central Time Zone. And this one, there are quite a few states that have a part of it in one and part of it in the other. Mountain, I guess part of Idaho is in Mountain and part of it is in Pacific. And so Mountain Time there, and that's centered on the 105-degree west meridian of longitude. And then the Pacific is centered on the 120-degree west meridian of longitude. The Alaskan Time Zone is centered on 135 degrees west meridian of longitude, and the Hawaiian Aleutian is centered on the 150-degree west meridian of longitude, okay? So you can see the different spots in the world, or in the US. This map shows you where different time zones end and begin. A lot has helped with cell phones, because when I've traveled, it usually will update with the satellites, and it'll update the time, and so I won't have to worry, okay, well, am I in this time zone or that time zone? Well, when you're close to it, sometimes you're close to the line, and we found this out when my brothers were playing baseball. We would be really close to the line in for the between Mountain and Pacific time, and our cell phones kept bouncing back and forth, and we almost missed a game because we weren't at the right time. So that was, you know, you don't have the right time, and you can miss something. And so anyway, so that's with the time zones and where they're located, and it really is helpful to have that. So on your page, we have the chart, and I'm gonna have you do the whole chart. It's pretty simple. You just find the one that's marked for you, and you just start either to the left or to the right of it. And so at the very first one, noon, Alaska would be what time? 11 a.m., right? And then Hawaii Aleutian would be 10 a.m., okay? So then you would go to Mountain, and you would go an hour after noon, which would be 1 p.m. Central would be 2 p.m. and then Eastern is 3 p.m. Okay, so I helped you with that first one, so you can fill that one in and do the rest of those, and then answer these questions. Use the map that is given above. So I want you to do all of those. That'll be helpful. If you turn it over, section 3. I want you to do A and B of that one. Section 4, you can pick one. And section 5, the review sections, I want you to do one of each section. So a couple of them, 2 of them only have one to do, but the other sections just pick one of those. Okay, and before I let you go, we're gonna do these, we're gonna do one of these. So converting to the nearest whole degree. So if we have 13 degrees Celsius, or we're given Celsius, what's the formula we're gonna use for this one? F equals 9/5 C plus 32, okay? So I'm gonna erase the, okay, so this one was 13 degrees Celsius. So F equals 9/5 times 13 plus 32. Now, which do we have to do first, multiply or add? Multiply, right? Okay, so F, and so we have to do, we're finding the closest. So 9 times 3 is 27, carry the 2 is 11. So it's 117 over 5. We're gonna divide that by 5. 2. And 3. This 2/5, or no, it would be 0.4, okay. So is that more than, does that make 23 go up or stay the same? Stay the same, okay. So this would be 23 degrees plus 32. So F is equal to 55 degrees, okay. Fahrenheit is 55 degrees, all right. The other one was 42 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're gonna find Celsius, right? Okay, so C equals, and we're gonna flip it over and do 5/9 times F minus 32, okay? So C equals 5/9 times 42 minus 32. 5/9 times 10, right? Okay. So this one is going to be C equals 50 over 9, which is going to give us, if 9 goes into 5, it's would be 5 5/9. So we would want to round that, because, so 9 goes into 50, it's, oh, you can't even see that, what I'm doing. Okay, so 9 goes into 50 5 times, because 9 times 5 is 45, right? So the 5 left over, 5 over 9. Is 5 over 9 more than half or less than half? It's more than half, right? So it's gonna make 5 go up to what? 6 degrees, okay? So if it's 42 degrees Fahrenheit, it's 6 degrees Celsius, okay? So that's how to round that. So these ones, you're gonna make sure that you are rounding. So don't leave it with a fraction or a decimal, just round it to the nearest number if it doesn't come out evenly. Okay, all right, so that's what you're doing with this. There is no homework for this lesson, so you can just do this page, what I've given you, and then if you need the extra practice or if you want to do everything else on there, be my guest, but I just want to make sure that you're not taking a lot of time on math and then having little time for other things. So, you can use your judgment on that. You guys are the 6th graders. You're old enough to say, okay, well, I can take 5 extra minutes and do the rest of these problems, or the rest of the problems are going to take me 20 minutes and I haven't done anything else today, so I better stop with what she gave me. So there you go, and we will see you in the next lesson.